Men, when a woman is having an affair, she might successfully hide it from you through careful planning and deception, but her friends often become the weak link in her secrecy. Friends know details she hasn't told you, they're present for conversations and activities you're not aware of, and they're managing the cognitive load of keeping track of lies on her behalf. Before we dive in, hit subscribe, smash that like and hype button, and drop a comment if a friend's accidental slip helped you discover an affair. Your experience might help another man recognize the signs that friends protecting secrets can't help but reveal. Way 1. They suddenly become cold or awkward around you. When her friends who were previously friendly and comfortable with you suddenly become distant, cold, or visibly awkward in your presence, avoid making eye contact, seem uncomfortable during conversations that were previously easy, or create reasons to not spend time around you. This dramatic shift reveals they know something that makes them unable to maintain normal, friendly interaction with you. What this reveals? This reveals they're aware she's betraying you, and their guilt or discomfort about that knowledge makes normal interaction with you impossible. Most people with any conscience feel uncomfortable being friendly with someone they know is being deceived. The cognitive dissonance of liking you while knowing your partner is cheating creates internal conflict that manifests as visible awkwardness and withdrawal. They can't be normally friendly while carrying the knowledge that you're being betrayed. Notice which specific friends show this change. Usually her closest friends, who are most likely to know details about the affair, show the strongest avoidance behaviors. If the friend she's closest to suddenly can barely look at you, while more distant friends remain normal, the close friend knows and is struggling with that knowledge. The intensity of awkwardness often correlates with how much detail they know. Watch how this awkwardness manifests in specific interactions. If they used to initiate conversations with you, but now only respond minimally when you speak to them. If they used to include you in group activities, but now seem to prefer you're not there. If they make excuses to leave when you arrive, these behaviors show active avoidance born from discomfort with their knowledge of the betrayal. Pay attention to whether they can maintain eye contact. People who are uncomfortable with hidden knowledge often can't maintain normal eye contact because it feels like the truth will show in their eyes. If friends who used to look at you normally during conversations now consistently avoid your gaze or look uncomfortable when forced to make eye contact, they're avoiding the intimacy of eye contact because of guilt about what they know. Observe if the awkwardness increases over time or after specific events. If friends become progressively more uncomfortable around you, the affair might be escalating or becoming more serious. If sudden increases in awkwardness follow weekends or trips, something happened during those times that increased their discomfort with the secret they're keeping. Why this creates the exposure. The sudden shift from friendly to cold or awkward is itself revealing. Friends don't randomly become uncomfortable around people they previously liked without reason. When you observe this pattern across multiple friends simultaneously, you're seeing a coordinated response to shared knowledge. Their discomfort is the tell. They're struggling to maintain normalcy while knowing you're being deceived, and that internal conflict creates the behavioral changes that expose the affair exists. Way 2. They slip and reference the affair partner. By name. When her friends accidentally use the affair partner's name in conversation with you, mention he, then quickly correct themselves, or reference activities that slip out before they realize you weren't involved. These verbal slips expose the affair partner's existence in their awareness of her life. These mistakes happen because they're used to discussing her life, including this other person, and occasionally, that reality breaks through when talking to you. What this reveals? This reveals the affair partner is a known presence in her friend group's awareness of her life. Friends who are used to hearing about both people in her life, you and the affair partner, occasionally slip and reference the wrong person when talking to you. The slip happens because maintaining the deception requires complex mental tracking of what you know versus what you don't know, and that cognitive load creates mistakes where reality surfaces through their careful narrative management. Notice the specific nature of name slips. If a friend starts to say a man's name, then catches themselves and corrects to your name with obvious discomfort, they almost revealed the affair partner. If they reference when she was with, then stop mid-sentence looking panicked, they almost said the affair partner's name. These near misses are as revealing as complete slips because the panic response confirms they almost expose something. Watch how they react to their own slips. If they seem genuinely panicked after a slip, if they look at her nervously as if worried about her reaction to their mistake, if they quickly try to cover by redirecting conversation, their response to the slip confirms it was revealing. People who accidentally say something innocent don't panic. The fear and quick recovery attempts reveal they exposed something meant to stay hidden. Pay attention to whether the same name comes up in multiple slips from different friends. If different friends make similar slips mentioning or almost mentioning the same name, that repeated name is the affair partner. The consistency across multiple accidental exposures confirms that person's real presence in her life that friends are trying to hide from you. Observe context when slips happen. If slips occur when discussing recent activities, weekends, or specific time periods, those are when she was with the affair partner. The contextual triggers for verbal slips tell you when the affair is happening. Friends slip when discussing times when the affair partner was actually the one present, not you. Why this creates the exposure. Verbal slips happen because deception creates cognitive load. Friends are tracking what you know versus what you don't know, what they're supposed to say versus what they actually know, which activities involved you versus the affair partner. This mental complexity creates moments where the truth breaks through before they can catch it. When friends slip and reference someone who shouldn't exist in the narrative about her life, they're accidentally revealing the person who actually exists in her reality, but not in the version of reality they're presenting to you. Way 3. They defend her with unprompted loyalty statements. When you're having normal conversation and her friends suddenly make unprompted statements defending her loyalty or character, she really loves you, she would never cheat, you can trust her completely. Without you questioning any of these things, they're trying to preemptively address doubts they fear you might develop. These unsolicited defenses reveal they're managing guilt about knowing she's doing exactly what they're claiming she isn't doing. What this reveals? This reveals they're uncomfortable knowing about the affair and trying to either convince themselves it's not as bad as it seems or prevent you from suspecting. People don't spontaneously defend someone's loyalty unless there's reason to question it. When friends make these unprompted statements, they're responding to their own knowledge that she's betraying you, either trying to rationalize her behavior or preemptively building defenses against your potential discovery. Notice the timing and context of these defenses. If they come up when you haven't expressed any concerns or suspicions, the defense is addressing their internal guilt, not your external questioning. If multiple friends independently make similar loyalty statements, they've likely discussed among themselves how to handle their knowledge and agreed on emphasizing her loyalty to you as a way to manage their discomfort. Watch the energy behind these statements. If defenses of her loyalty seem like they're trying to convince themselves as much as you, if there's slight desperation or overemphasis in how they state these things, they're struggling with cognitive dissonance between knowing she's cheating and wanting to believe she's still fundamentally good or loyal. The energy reveals doubt beneath their stated certainty. Pay attention to whether these defenses come with explanations or excuses for her behavior. If friends defend her loyalty, but also explain away changes you've noticed, she's just stressed, work has been crazy. They're providing cover for behavioral changes they know are actually due to the affair. The combination of loyalty defenses and behavioral excuses reveals they're managing your perception of changes they know have different causes than what they're telling you. Observe if she seems uncomfortable when friends make these statements. If you notice her looking anxious or trying to change the subject when friends spontaneously defend her loyalty to you, she's worried they're drawing attention to the exact thing she's trying to hide. Her discomfort with their defenses reveals she knows unprompted loyalty statements raise more questions than they answer. Why this creates the exposure. Unprompted loyalty defenses are themselves suspicious. Normal friends don't feel compelled to randomly assure you of their friend's faithfulness unless faithfulness is in question. When friends make these unsolicited statements, they're revealing that loyalty is on their mind because they know it's being violated. The defense exposes what they're trying to protect. The very thing they're defending against is the thing that's actually happening. Way 4. They have details about her schedule. You don't have. When her friends casually reference what she did last Tuesday, where she was last weekend, who she was with during times you thought she was alone or doing something else, and their information contradicts what she told you or reveals activities you knew nothing about. Friends' greater knowledge of her actual schedule exposes inconsistencies between what she tells you and what she's actually doing. What this reveals. This reveals friends know her real schedule, including the affair activities, while you only know the cover story schedule. When friends reference her actual activities because they're unaware you've been told something different, they accidentally expose the gaps between her real life and the version she's presented to you. Their casual knowledge of what she was really doing reveals she's maintaining two different versions of her schedule. Notice when friends reference specific activities or times. If they mention she was somewhere or with someone during time periods she told you she was working late, at the gym, or home alone, the contradiction reveals deception. When friends' version of her schedule doesn't match what she told you, the discrepancy exposes that she's lying to you about how she's spending time. Watch how they respond when you express confusion about these references. If you say, "What are you talking about? She told me she was working late Tuesday," and they look uncomfortable or quickly backtrack, they've realized they've exposed an inconsistency. If they try to cover by claiming they must be remembering wrong or thinking of a different day, they're attempting damage control after accidentally revealing she gave you false information. Pay attention to whether friends seem surprised by what you don't know. If they reference activities, assuming you know about them, and seem genuinely shocked that she hasn't told you about significant events or outings, their surprise reveals she's keeping major parts of her life hidden from you. Friends expect partners to know about each other's activities, so their surprise at your ignorance exposes abnormal information hiding. Observe if there are patterns to what friends know that you don't. If friends consistently know about her evening and weekend activities better than you do, those times are when the affair is occurring and when the greatest disparity exists between her real activities and what she tells you. The pattern of what's hidden from you reveals when she's with the affair partner. Why this creates the exposure. Friends are used to her actual schedule and activities, not the cover story version. When they casually reference her real activities to you assuming you share the same information, they expose the difference between reality and what you've been told. These accidental revelations about her schedule create contradictions that expose systematic lying about how she spends her time. Lying necessary to hide the time she's spending with someone else. Way 5. They act protective and try to keep you two apart. When her friends seem to actively work to limit your time with her, suggest she needs girls' time frequently, create activities or trips that exclude you, or generally act as gatekeepers who control access to her. This protective behavior reveals they're helping her maintain time away from you that she's using for the affair. Friends become accomplices by helping create separation that enables the betrayal. What this reveals, This reveals friends are actively facilitating the affair by creating cover and opportunity for her to spend time with the affair partner. When friends insist on frequent girls' nights, weekend trips, or activities without you, they're not just spending time with their friend. They're creating alibis and opportunities for the affair. Their protectiveness isn't about friendship needs, it's about helping her maintain the affair by ensuring you're not around at strategic times. Notice the frequency and timing of these friend-initiated separations. If demands for her time away from you have increased significantly, if friends suddenly need her more than they used to, if girls' nights that were occasional become weekly or multiple times per week, the increase reveals these separations serve a purpose beyond normal friendship. The affair requires time away from you, and friends are helping create that time. Watch how they frame these exclusions. If friends act like you're problematic for wanting to spend time with your partner, if they treat couple time as you being controlling or possessive, if they position themselves as rescuing her from your presence, they're creating narrative where your reasonable desire for partner time is reframed as you being the problem. This reframing helps her justify time away from you. Pay attention to whether she seems to need permission from friends for couple activities. If she checks with friends before committing to plans with you, if friends' schedules seem to take precedence over yours, if she regularly chooses friend activities over couple time, friends have influence over her schedule that facilitates the affair by ensuring the affair partner gets priority access disguised as friend time. Observe if friends create last-minute demands for her time. If friends frequently have emergencies that require her immediate presence, if sudden plans arise that she must attend, if friends regularly interrupt your time together with urgent needs, these manufactured urgencies create unpredictable time away from you that's actually being used for the affair. The frequency and convenience of these interruptions reveal their strategic nature. Why this creates the exposure. Excessive friend interference in your relationship is itself a red flag. Normal friends want their friend to be happy in a healthy relationship, not to be separated from their partner constantly. When friends actively work to create separation, they're not supporting her friendship needs. They're enabling affair needs. The pattern of protective behavior and manufactured separation exposes that friends are complicit in creating the conditions necessary for the affair to continue. Way 6. They post social media content that doesn't match her story. When her friends post photos, check-ins, or stories on social media that place her at locations she didn't mention being at, show her with people she claimed not to be with, or timestamp activities during times she told you she was doing something else, their social media documentation of reality contradicts her cover stories and accidentally exposes her lies. What this reveals? This reveals the difference between where she actually is and where she tells you she is. Friends who post normally about their activities don't realize they're exposing contradictions between her reality and your version of her reality. Their innocent documentation of actual events exposes her deception when those events don't match what she's told you about her schedule, location, or companions. Notice specific contradictions between social media evidence and what she told you. If friends post photos from Thursday night out when she told you she was home tired, if check-ins show her at restaurants or venues she never mentioned, if story content shows activities she claimed not to have done, each contradiction is evidence of deception. The disparity between documented reality and told story exposes systematic lying. Watch how she responds to friends' social media posts about activities you weren't told about. If she quickly untagged herself from photos, if she asks friends to take down posts, if she seems anxious about what friends are posting, she's aware that their documentation exposes inconsistencies. Her concern about their posts reveals she knows they're creating evidence that contradicts her cover stories. Pay attention to whether friends' social media reveals people in her activities you weren't told about. If group photos include someone who shouldn't be there. If tagged friends include names you don't recognize. If the social circle visible in posts is different from what she's described to you, the discrepancies reveal she's hiding aspects of her social life. The affair partner might even be visible in background or tagged in ways friends don't realize expose his presence. Observe patterns in what gets posted versus what doesn't. If friends post about most activities, but there are conspicuous gaps, certain evenings or weekends with no documentation, activities mentioned verbally but never posted about, photos that seem to have people cropped out. The selective posting reveals information management. What's hidden from social media is often what most needs hiding from you. Why this creates the exposure. Social media creates permanent public records of activities that contradict cover stories. Friends who post normally about their lives accidentally create evidence trails that expose when she's lying about her schedule, location, or companions. These digital breadcrumbs reveal the affair because they document reality while she's telling you fiction, and the contradictions between social media evidence and her stories expose the deception she's trying to maintain. Way 7. They know intimate details. They shouldn't know. When her friends reference information about your relationship, your private life, your intimate details, or your problems that you haven't shared with them, and that should be private between you and her, this reveals she's discussing your relationship extensively with them in ways that serve the affair, either processing guilt, vetting you as a threat to the affair, or comparing you unfavorably to the affair partner. What this reveals. This reveals you're being discussed in depth behind your back, likely in context of the affair. When friends know intimate details about your relationship, your vulnerabilities, your schedule, or private information, she's sharing extensively about you beyond normal friendship sharing. This detailed knowledge suggests she's either processing guilt about the affair with them, preparing them to help maintain deception, or discussing you in comparative context with the affair partner. Notice what specific types of information friends have. If they know about your schedule and habits in detail, she might be coordinating with them about when she has opportunity for the affair. If they know about your insecurities or trust issues, she might be preparing them to help gaslight you if you become suspicious. If they know intimate details about your relationship problems, she might be using those to justify the affair to them. Watch how friends reference information they shouldn't have. If they casually mention things, as if you told them directly when you didn't, she's been so extensive in discussing you that friends have forgotten you weren't the source of their knowledge. If they accidentally reveal knowing private information, then seem to realize they shouldn't have known that, you're catching them exposing how much they actually know about your private life. Pay attention to whether friends seem to have analyzed you as a problem, if their knowledge of you feels clinical or judgmental, if they seem to have discussed your flaws or shortcomings, if they reference you in ways that suggest you've been the subject of critical analysis, she's likely using your perceived failings to justify the affair. Friends who help justify betrayal need detailed knowledge of why you supposedly deserve it. Observe if information friends have about you could be used against you. If they know things that could be twisted to make you seem controlling, jealous, or problematic. She might be building narrative with her friends where you're the villain and the affair is understandable response to your failings. This defensive positioning reveals she's preparing for possible discovery by establishing story where she's justified. Why this creates the exposure. Friends knowing inappropriate amounts of intimate information about you reveals extensive behind-the-scenes discussion that goes beyond normal friendship sharing. When friends know private details they shouldn't, you're being discussed as part of affair management. Either they're being prepared to help deceive you, she's justifying the affair by discussing your failings, or she's processing guilt by oversharing about the relationship she's betraying. The depth of their knowledge exposes the depth of the deception,